I'm trying to broadcast earlier because I understand there's a 3 hour time difference between here and New York and Virginia and the East Coast. And people aren't really used to mountain time. Not many people. I mean, the majority, I'm guessing the majority of our audience is outside of this time zone. We've been traveling today, so I plan in the future to start broadcasting even earlier. But right now, today we traveled for many hours this morning or today, and now we're safely back home. There are many things that really jump out at me today in terms of the information news. Just thanks, Wade. Crypto is starting to take off. So I think we're going to, and they're talking about the Clarity Act being enacted next week. So I think we can safely say that, at least for now, that crypto is beginning its takeoff. At least the ISO 222 coins, in my opinion. Louisiana, hey Jen. What's your take on the Netanyahu thing? I think it's all phony baloney bullshit, because I think he's been dead for a long time. It's like Joe Biden. It's like saying what's going on with Joe Biden. It's just BS. And the people who are wrapped around this Israel and Trump's Israel's lapdog, they're clueless idiots. That's my take on it. I don't. Okay, so I'm going to preface this video with a thought that occurred to me, and then I'm going to really go through some news articles, some thoughts, some thought streams that I think. Hey, Huffs from Australia, Sydney. Any confirmation last night's? I didn't get any confirmation on that. I got a friend of mine from New York said that it was not true, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the idea of truth and not truth, and what it means. So for me, I mean, this is key, but there are a lot of things I want to talk about. But this is really what Larry's saying about that. There was a post that I saw yesterday that said they were going to release the 6,000 patents and arrest all the doctors and all the fraudsters involved in the COVID Holocaust. Interestingly enough, COVID spelled backwards is let's see, COVID, C-O-V, is Divuk. Divuk in mystic Yiddishkeit, Divuk is like kind of an evil spirit. So, and I want to talk about that too at some point. But I'm just going to go over for a minute that the people who are infected with these nanoparticles are experiencing a Divuk, a separation, a separate consciousness that has invaded their godly being. I just want you to just keep that in mind. And I'm going to use this opportunity to just say that, to just show you one little thing before I get, I can see I'm going to get, okay, so I want to show you what I mean, what this means. I've showed this before, but this is a picture of a friend of mine who had her blood tested before she took the LifeWave patches. She was concerned because there's a lot of chemtrails in her area. She didn't get vaccinated, but she was saying that they're putting nanoparticles in the air, and she took a quick blood test of herself. And this is what it looks like before she started taking the LifeWave patches. And this is what it looked like after she started taking X39 and various other patches. This is a remarkable difference. It's not. I've been told that this isn't completely the way blood cells should look, but if you look at the other picture, it's 100% better. So I just want to say I really recommend that everyone get your LifeWave patches, particularly the glutathione patch, the X39, and the Eon. Those three patches, I think, will help clear up your blood. Glutathione is a master antioxidant. If you want, you could add carnosine to that. There's a carnosine patch, but these patches will help clean up your blood from this DIVIC, this illicit spirit that is invaded our bloodstream. This was by design. Remember, 85% of humanity has this DIVIC, has this COVID or mRNA in there. It wasn't the COVID, it wasn't the so-called COVID. It was the vaccine that put this mRNA into your bloodstream. And this is also part of the way that they've been injecting these things in the food. It's probably in the air, in the chemtrails. So I highly recommend that you either call or just sign up under Dr. Stacy. She'll sign you up under Danielle and I, so we benefit, the station benefits. But the three patches I would recommend at this point are Eon X39 resets, stimulates stem cell production, which especially if you have a few years on you, you need stem cells to repair your body, and glutathione patch, which is the master antioxidant, produces your own, influences your body without putting anything into your body. The glutathione patch is non-transdermal, meaning it doesn't put anything in your body. It stimulates your body to produce glutathione, just like the X39 doesn't put, these patches don't put anything in your body. They are quantum photo life patches, light patches that reflect your own infrared light into your system to influence systems in your body to respond, like influence producing copper peptides, X39, to stimulate stem cell production. Carnosine and glutathione in particular, master antioxidant. So you will produce this master antioxidant to go after the mRNA and the heavy metals that are in your bloodstream. So I just wanted to get this out of the way when I was thinking of the idea of DIVIC, of that they have put in 85% of humanity. They have injected us with these nanoparticles, that you need to be very aggressive and active in cleansing your body of these nanoparticles. So you could go on my website, lifewave.com, Kabbalah Guru, and press the join, not the shop, but join. Get a, what is it, core pack or better. Try a bunch of patches. Just put them on your skin. We'll figure out, or I can tell you when I meet with Dr. Stacy. I meet with her every Tuesday. We could talk about where to put the patches. But I just wanted to get this up because it relates to the idea of a DIVIC, of these evil souls consciously putting this into your body. Okay, so thank you for contributing, and we invite you to get with it yourself. I'm sorry about the lighting. The lighting is kind of it's late in the day here. So I was able to interject that idea of DIVIC, that COVID backwards means DIVIC, which is like a little demon that they put in your body. Brian Best coffee, wonderful coffee, organic. He roasted himself in very small batches. He's constantly coming up with new combinations and new brands. He's got a now one from Peru and one from Ethiopia, and the Wyatt Earp is a big favorite here. But he's got all kinds of Skywalker, all kinds of really cool combinations of coffee. If you're really into organic coffee, and here we don't drink anything else, so we really depend on Brian. He's been nice enough to supply me with endless amounts of coffee. He's such a sweetheart. You can also go to his coffee shop if you're in Prescott, Arizona. Okay, with that said, I want to go back to, I have a lot to say, oddly enough, which it doesn't really make sense that I do, but I do. And that is, let's go back to the idea that yesterday we saw a post that said this, they're going to unveil the 6,000 patents, all the cures, all this free energy stuff. All these things will be released to the public, and they will arrest all the evil players who kept the cures in particular from the public. Now, the question is, was it real? So my friend Tracy from New York checked it out. She says she couldn't find it the way it is. Here's the thing, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. We no longer live, and this also, I'm sorry, I'm babbling. I'm just trying to get all these thoughts out at once. I saw another video that said in 2012, the Mayans predicted the end of our calendar. This person was saying that in 2012, the timelines collapsed and it became more of a personal ascension timeline than a collective experience. Okay, that's one aspect. So what I'm saying, that in the chemtrails and into our vegetables, right, and the public water supplies, we're all compromised, right? We're not screwed. We just have to take action. We can't, and listen, the LifeWave patches to me are just part of that action. I also think you should be at least take a one course of ivermectin. I've done that multiple times. You should be taking cleansing baths, but it's a process of cleansing. And I believe that if you're on the rail to, it's easy to give up, but I don't think we should give up. I think we should fight harder. And it's not something we can just say, okay, I'll be okay. That's in my community. They're like, Ellie, don't you believe in God? I'm like, yeah, I believe in God, but I also believe in ivermectin. I also believe in taking care of myself. I also believe in that they were trying to kill you with the vaccine, or at least neutralize you and make you into a Divik, so that you could never understand what I am saying about the Great Awakening. I was in a community that based its whole essence, according to the Rebbe's teachings, on the coming of Mashiach. And I could not explain to these people that we were in the middle of a Holocaust, and that you can't just wait to be saved. That's my basic message. It talks about patents in Nasara. Right. Yes. In Nasara, exactly right, Jimmy Johns. In Nasara, it says all these things will be released. So I have no doubt that these things will be released. Did it factually happen yesterday? I don't know. The general point that I want to make is that reality as we thought of it, where, okay, this is what's happening, and this is true, and this is verifiable, and this is not true. That reality, that two-dimensional linear time reality, no longer exists for me. So I don't have a problem with a post like that. It doesn't have to happen in a sequential way. So to me, it's enough that it was believable by this community. It was believable to me that this could come out. That means that it's part of my current reality. And if you see time as a nonlinear experience, as a kind of it could be a spiral, could be somewhat circular, but if you think about it, this is a piece of information that's now in your consciousness, and it will occur at the time that it's supposed to occur. Right? I don't know if that makes any sense, but I personally, and I'm sure a lot of people on this channel I don't experience reality as this is what's happening. And didn't you see this post? Don't you know that this is, that's nonsense to me, because reality is what I believe, what I create, what I experience. And what I experience is totally different from what other people experience. But a lot of people on this channel are probably in the same current. Just like when I went with my parents to see the Gulf Stream in the ocean, the Gulf Stream, you're sailing in the ocean. You don't go anywhere. You don't go into a stream, but you do go into a stream. In the middle of the ocean, there's a Gulf Stream. You go and you can see the color of the water is different from the ocean in general and the Gulf Stream itself. The water is different, the temperature is different, the type of fish, even the birds that are in this narrow, maybe 100-foot wide strip, at least in Florida, was maybe 100 feet across. That this Gulf Stream, and that's our reality too, in my opinion. I'm not trying to sort of excuse myself or say that it isn't real. What I'm saying is that it is real, that the 6,000 patents will be revealed, but to us, we are already in that reality, that we already expect it to happen, so that people didn't freak out when we looked at that post, whether it's actually happening. I personally believe that it is happening, and that the white hats are slowly revealing this aspect of reality to the world early tonight. Yeah, I'm trying to broadcast. I'm going to be broadcasting more earlier. We've been traveling off and on, and I'll explain that later when things are more clear along that. But we've had to travel, but it, my mindset, and Daniela really wants to broadcast earlier. We're going through constant change, and that's the way we are. We're never become like, okay, this is what we do and this is who we are. We are not those people. We are constantly evolving and changing, and the situation up here is constantly changing as well. So do any info on med beds, right? Well, so that's what I'm saying. When today we were listening to Trump's conferences, I personally, that's what I'm saying. When are the med beds coming out? It doesn't matter. I know that sounds cold, because a lot of people experience reality from more of a physical sensibility. Like, well, because I'm offering, and I'm just saying that if you're having difficulties with health, we have the LifeWave patches. There's ivermectin, there's hydrochloroquine, there's nattokinase. There's all kinds of things. You can change your diet. You can grow your own food. We are the people who are steering a version of reality that may end up being the version of reality that certainly you and I accept. And will we be starting our own communities? I don't know where this is going, but I don't think that we can no longer look at the collective as Walter Cronkite came out last night and said, this, we're in this thing, we're in this war, and the Democrats are here, and that reality has been shot to hell. It doesn't exist. What exists is a personal, in my opinion, a personal thought stream, a personal way of looking at things. So I'm going to play a quick clip that supports this idea, and I'm going to draw more on clips and what they mean. And I do want to talk about V for Vendetta and Millennia. I do want to talk about this. I believe LifeWave and MedBeds have the same tech. Yeah, that could very well be, but it's the point is that just like with investments, I was saying that you must be aggressive with your investments, not because because you're going to be rich and that's going to be important, but because it sets up your mindset in a certain way to make you less slavish. Like, well, I can't give up my job. Well, I did give up my job. I got kicked out of my job. And thank God I had investments. Thank God I had a little gold and silver. Thank God I had enough gold and silver to buy this property. Thank God I had enough gold and silver to buy a truck because I invested, because I took myself when the COVID thing hit, I took my 401k and I said, I want it now. I want to control it now. That's another story I don't want to really go into right now, but the idea of sovereignty, of taking control of your life, of not being like, well, when is it going to happen? You make it happen. You insist on, if you want to really see a med bed, you will start to heal. The sun will heal you. I've heard people say that we don't need med beds. We can heal ourselves. I believe that. However, I'm also very happy to live in a place where I get a lot of sunshine. I feel that's very healing. I'm happy to be in a relationship with somebody who believes in healing and is constantly changing the rules of what we eat, what we wear. We don't wear anything that even has a snippet of nylon in it. She won't allow it. She won't even let it be in the house. And now I'm trying to create a house with all natural materials. Not easy, because everything is full of poisons. But I believe there's a way forward with all this. Okay, let me just go to a couple of quick snippets of information. I want to play this one thing from this young man that I thought was really interesting and appropriate. Let's see if I can find this. Right, I can share this. Okay, so this was, yeah, I want to circle back. Remind me to come back to this post from Whiplash, of all people, who I used to have a lot of problems with, and I still do. But he came up with this thing about millennia and this fight between Tartaria and the evil parasites, and her lineage and all that stuff. But I wanted to go to it's and this guy's saying that the timelines have changed. But there was a clip that I wanted to play. It's very simple. I mean, it's not that I think underscores the idea that if you want to know what's really happening when the med beds are coming out, this, I love this. I don't know if you can see this because it's so small, but it says the people calling you an extremist are eating babies. I mean, what more do you need to say? Now, here's a clip. I want to play this. NPCs don't see what you see. This is kind of what I'm talking about in terms of the reality that we create. So let's just watch this film together, real quick.
Energy, the NPC next to you might not pick up on their energy. The thing is like, oh well, that's a conspiracy, or that's not real. If they truly believe that that's not real and they don't critically think, it's not going to be real in their reality. They're not going to see through the bullshit at all. That's why I say stop trying to wake people up. Certain people are going to wake up naturally and certain people are going to just stay asleep. They're here to stay asleep. It is what it is in the world. You need the agents around you. It's how it functions. It's how they keep the system going in that type of way. If you talk the truth and people resonate with it and they wake up, that's cool. If they don't go out your way to try and force it in their face.
Okay, I think that's kind of okay. I think that's an important understanding that there's not, we were brought up thinking there is this reality and then there's us, and we see this reality and we watch it and we react to it, and this is what's really going on, and this other thing is, it's just that way of looking at life, to me, is no longer a valid way, at least in my life. Somebody says, well, yeah, but look what happened here, and I'm just like, yeah, so what? That's just part of this, like, salad. It's like you're eating a health salad of all these different vegetables, and you you are choosing to eat the red cabbage at that moment, and you're focused on that cabbage, while the other things may exist to other people who are eating the salad. They may be experiencing the green cabbage or the sauerkraut or whatever it is that's in the cabbage at the same time, but it's a different their reality is different from yours. It doesn't mean that either of you have strayed from the reality, because the reality is just, there is none. It varies from person to person, right? You can watch a movie, some people really identify with one character, another character. The masters of narration, Hollywood, the sickos that produce these films, they have a particular viewpoint, a particular way they want to shape your view of reality in that moment. Got an email today from let me just see what this is. California Republic, and all their positions are filled, and they have stood up. That's great. So again, I'm seeing a lot of posts on X saying the government is this, it's that, it can't be fixed. Well, it's not going to be fixed. Get that? I think that's a reality that is gone. Everyone's thinking like, well, what are we going to do with all these congressmen? They're doing this, they're doing that. They're going to be gone. In essence, the bottom line is, this is a corporate fraudulent government, and the corporate fraudulent government, where you have 413 congressional representatives, 100 senators, you have the Supreme Court, and this is all going to be tossed aside. We are not going back to it. We are not going to fix the system. We are going back to the republic, to constitutional law. So I appreciate, Jimmy, that was Ted Sissos, that you checked it out. You got an email today from the California. Yeah, join the republic. It's just republicforusa.org. Join the republic. Whatever they need. Again, the white hats are watching. We've been told the white hats are watching. Remember, if you look at 11.3 in the Law of War Manual, that says the occupying force is no longer has power when they know they cannot control the population. When enough of the population has registered for the republic, the fraudulent corporate system that took over with the Organic Act in 1871 will be removed. It will not be fixed, in my opinion. It will be removed and replaced by the republic, which will be according.
Nancy said, whatever you said about California, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Okay, so Nancy says that California is not filled. So keep on it. Maybe
we still need people in California.
They still need people in California. So keep on it. Go write them back again, Ted Sissos. Maybe, I don't know. He got an email. He said he got an email, but just keep on it. Maybe, they need people in California. They need people everywhere. You think, well, if enough people join. No, you are the one. You are the one who changes the reality of your existence however you want to. Okay, let me now go back to some posts that I think are valuable to examine at this point. Let's go back here to this. Okay, so let's go back to my thought stream and just take a quick look at some of these things that I think are really important. One is that there are a lot of haters out there, and they are saying that ex-beauty queen and longtime Trump ally Carrie Prejean turns on President Trump, declares MAGA is dead. I mean, how much is she getting paid? What happened to her? I don't know. Whiplash. Now, this is an interesting post. Melania is the rightful queen of Russia Tartaria. Ashkenazi Jacob Schiff, really Illuminati Jacob Schiff. I don't think Ashkenazi is the right word. Whiplash is one of these people that has a kind of a bias against, he lumps all Jews together. The father of Adam Schiff, the grandfather of Adam Schiff, issued the assassination order for the whole family when her great-great-grandfather was czar. Her great-grandmother, Anastasia Romanov, was smuggled out to safety. Time to feed the bulldogs. So this is the idea, is that this is really V for Vendetta, and that just like in the movie V for Vendetta, we are coming back to reclaim what was stolen from us by this corporate government. Here's a post. The hacker known as 4chan explains the real reason for the war with Iran. This is a very interesting post. I'm not going to get into it, but if you go to my X channel, you will see this on the feed. It's a very interesting post. It's a little too detailed, I think, for us, but it's just that the deep state is being destroyed. The Iranian tyrannical government is a deep state operation that was feeding the city of London, as certain podcasters are pointing out. The 25 greatest principles of Neville Goddard. These are very good for the law of attraction. If Congress can't do what a huge supermajority of Americans want and pass voter ID, then it's time to throw out all 100 senators and all 435 members of Congress. It's beyond that. This whole system is going to be trashed. We're coming into Gisara law, where government will be 10% of the size. The whole thing is going to be replaced by the Republic, in my opinion. Here's an interesting clip. He's saying these people need to get away from the false republic. I will post our republic, the one recognized by the white hat military. Okay, so it's possible. I think it was Jimmy Johns that was saying that he wrote, maybe that could be a false republic. Remember, the republic has been infiltrated by the evil ones, and so it could be a fake. According to Nancy, that is just not true. That California has not been filled. We are raising the Earth's frequency by being part of the clarity and quiet shift. Stay centered, stay calm, stay clear. Okay, this is another very beautiful post that I'm not going to play. Holy smokes, President Trump eviscerated America's allies, refusing to help U.S. secure the Strait of Hormuz. Openly mocks them because we don't even get our oil from them. He was helping the others. Life is beautiful, the system that's ugly. Right. What?
Nancy just posted the Real Republic website in the chat several times.
Is it
Real Republic?
Is it the same post, the same address that I've been giving out? Republic for USA? Yeah. Okay, so the real republic, that the White House are in cahoots with and communicate with, is republicforusa.org. There are a lot of fake republics out there. Okay, one nation under fraud, clearly visible with bribery and corruption for all, the greatest of all time. Yes, indeed. The day our elected officials hid the efficacy of hydrochloroquine, it confirmed they would kill us to beat President Trump. Never forget the evil we are fighting. That's a brilliant idea. Abolish the entire effing government. That is in process. Alina will be taking over. Alina Habba will be the next Attorney General for the U.S. Okay, so that's exciting. And Congress has no right to keep secrets. Okay, yeah, okay, so Congress they're going. Taxes, ball tithe. This is a great thing. I love Sirius B, but the accountant, banker, tax consultant, and taxman are all priests of Baal. Yeah, that could be. The initial wave will be fast and meaningful. Okay, I'm alien world order, right? Us humans are fighting reptilian aliens at the top. This book is true. Alien world order, the reptilian plan to divide and conquer the human race. They're not going to win, in my opinion. Dear first and second waivers who woke up before the rest of humanity, many of us were part of the first wave and second wave of awakening, those who saw through the veil long before most of humanity. We learned the hard truths about our reality, shared disclosures about crimes against humanity, and spoke openly about the dark, fallen, satanic, and Luciferian factions that have controlled our world for eons. We were cast out, rejected, judged, and labeled conspiracy theorists, yet we stayed on the front lines. We spoke the truth when it cost us everything. We anchored light in solitude. We laid the energetic foundations for the new earth when almost no one was listening. Now the tide has turned. The very truths we were mocked for are rising to the surface. The illusions are crumbling. People who once looked away are finally waking up. It has not been an easy path. We've carried different soul contracts and arrived at different stages of remembrance. The light we held when the world refused to see it is now illuminating everything. That's very, very important. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I want to also share an idea that came to me last night, which is that a lot of us are being saved for later. Okay. And when I read that post, I thought to myself, what was protecting me in 20 years of working for the Department of Education? It was just like every time they had me on the ropes, every time they finally, Mr. Weber, we got you, we caught you, they accused me of everything. And every time it would happen, I would be saved. It's so same with up here. I mean, it's scary to just move out of civilization and move into the mountains. It's not, a sane person doesn't really do this kind of thing, but it's just time and time again when things were just, and it's happened on many occasions, I just said, oh my God, what have I done? What am I doing here? I'm a flautist. I'm not a piano player, the elephant at the, but time and time again, we are saved. And it's almost as if, and this goes for all of us, they're saving us for something, for a bigger a time to when we will be more respected. Good ahead and share with us. Welcome influence. Thank you, CD3. Go back to Continental Congress. Represent. Yeah, we're going back. We're going back to the. I have lots of Lifeway patches. Yeah. Yeah, I think we really appreciate the help. That's keeping us going, and we're doing a lot of things. I don't go in a lot of side stories, but we were in Phoenix today. We went into a coffee shop, and next to the coffee shop was this place that sold old barnwood for a fortune. I went in there. I was thinking, we don't need to buy fancy barnwood. We can make it ourselves. You just put wood out here and it turns into whatever. Anyway, the Hyborian Golden Dome is now fully activated. That could very well be. I think we just need to keep our energy high, keep calm, keep collected, remind each other that how important your mission is, and just keep going, whatever it takes. Try different things. Try these. Like I said, I put out a video years ago about this healing bath you could take with. It had like earth, diatomaceous earth, and borax, and a bunch of stuff, and black stuff came out of my body. Those could have been nanoparticles. I don't know, but you can't, But I totally believe, and we saw in the blood, in my friend's blood, that the LifeWave patches really cleaned up her blood. So that there's evidence, there's all kinds of clinical evidence. It's not a new technology.
Close it back now. It's too dark.
I think it looks good now. Doesn't it look good?
I don't know by your face.
I think it looks okay right now. If you find it's too dark, when you're looking at it, if it looks too dark, you close it up. But then I have to scooch out because I'm too far back. But that's okay. I could do that. Okay, so yeah, the Golden Dome is now fully active. That could very well be, and it could be but still the chemtrails. There's still floating chemtrails, or at least where I live. So if the Golden Dome is fully activated, we still have to do our work. I'm going to get some of them patches. I think you should. I think it's a responsible thing to do. But I'm not saying that is the only thing you should do. You got it. We have to continually work on our diet. We eat a lot of protein. Where our diet is heavy protein. We don't eat any significant kinds of bread or any sweets. We don't really eat sugar. We don't eat bread. We do on occasion. We'll treat ourselves to a piece of sourdough bread, but we basically eat steak and chicken and vegetables and fruit.
You eat fruit.
I eat fruit. Daniela does not. Daniela is more hardcore than I am. She's very serious about. And that's why she's an amazing. Yeah, it's great view. I know, isn't it amazing? Wait till I show you from the second floor. It'll blow your mind. It's so beautiful out here. It's I need this. I mean, I feel I need this to survive. It keeps me from going crazy. Just to be able and to work with my hands and to grow things. It's very healing for me to do physical things, because I'm a person who could just sit up here all day long, and I could scroll all day long and just be thinking about stuff. But to actually get in, and this is we all need to just keep a balance. And I think that's what's really going to help us move into this new way of life of Jasara world. Let's go for a few moments into the general thought stream and just take a look. Okay, so I'm going to go up to the top and just see what's been released. See, I can't click on this. Okay, so let me stop sharing for 1 minute. I'm going to go to here and show all posts. I want to go to the most recent post. And that's really the essence. That's the essence of what I'm trying to say, is that consciousness is not a thing that is like fixed. It's not like this is reality. Reality is, in my opinion, is constantly changing. The only thing the old saying, the only thing you can be sure of is change. So what's true, what really resonates with me in the morning may be completely different from what resonates me in the afternoon. Does that mean the stuff in the morning was not true? No, it just means that it's not linear. Time is not linear. Development is not linear. And we're constantly going back. I mean, memories come back all the time. Like, why am I thinking, like, the last couple of days, I was thinking about my Uncle Fred. A lot about Uncle Fred. I was like, when I was out working, every time I was working, I was thinking about Uncle Fred. Why Uncle Fred? Well, Uncle Fred had a very successful food company in New York. But he also lived on, I mean, this is gentleman farming, but he lived on a 7-acre estate, which my family sometimes would live in the gardener's cottage as we were building a house. So we lived in the gardener's cottage, a little humble place, a little like 2 rooms, my whole family. That's when my father brought home a TV set one day, and it was kind of like freaky. But Uncle Fred, who was a very wealthy businessman, would spend all his time at home on a tractor. He had an apple orchard and he had gardens. I used to go to the garden and pick raspberries and rhubarb. And it was just, he was just a man of the earth. And no matter, even though he was a very successful guy, they had a company called Hotel Bar Butter. I don't know if you guys remember that, but this was my cousin's family. They were very wealthy. We were not. I mean, we did okay. We were okay, but they lived on an estate in Scarsdale next to the Winstons. But my uncle spent all his time. He would come home and he'd ride around on his tractor. I mean, and do stuff. And he had this old monstrous table saw in the basement. He'd cut all his wood, and they had whatever. Anyway, so memories come around, and they're there to instruct you and to feed you, and we are multidimensional creatures that have this consciousness, this open story of dreams and desires, and it's a kind of an uncontrollable stream, like kind of like the idea of the Gulf Stream, that we have our own particular stream. It may be in the ocean, it may be part of this great collective, but we all have our individual godly experience. And that's what the creepazoids wanted to take us away from. They wanted to, you sit in rows in school and you learn this and you learn math and you learn English, and everything in the creepazoid world is independent, it's okay, now I'm learning English. That's different from math. In the real world, in my opinion, there's complete unity. So when I go out and live my godly life, which is to work the land and to build a house and to be with my beloved and all this stuff, it's all connected. There's no, oh, now I'm doing the garden. The garden is connected to the water system, and it's connected to the pump, and it's connected to Norm and this great charitable man that we met that helped us install, get settled up here. And it's connected to my Uncle Fred, and it's connected to how much I love Daniela and how she's, constantly re-correcting my diet and telling me I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And, I'm just like, leave me alone. But it's all connected in the godly way. It's connected to the point that if you're in your own Gulf Stream, you don't need to think about where you are. You don't need to separate yourself from your reality by saying, okay, this is where it is right now. Right now, everyone's talking about this. This is what Walter Cronkite is setting the stage for reality. Walt Disney, when I was a little kid, it was like Mickey Mouse, that was setting the reality for children. I mean, as sick as that was, now we know how sick it was. But so that's another a viewpoint that I haven't really shared too much. But when you get into this godly Gulf Stream of your own, you don't have to worry anymore, because it's all connected. You don't say, well, I'm spending too much time doing this. I mean, you could get off, I mean, that's why you have a partner. Your partner's like, what are you doing? You get off your phone,
No, I'm gonna close the back now.
You're going to close the back because it's too dark? Okay. Okay, fine. I hope there's enough. Yeah, there's enough light. I'm getting light on my face from all this. Anyway, okay, so I'm going off on a tangent, I guess. Yeah, the background is beautiful. For some reason, that's important to me. I don't know why I'm a view person. I was looking at colors. What colors you really like? I really like royal blue, and that apparently has to deal with communication. Yeah. So now the back is up. This is the RV is called a toy hauler, meaning that people would buy this kind of an RV and have all their motorcycles inside and bicycles and stuff, and they would let down the ramp and they would drive out and enjoy. I mean, it's kind of a rednecky thing around here, but a lot of trucks that pass us on the highway have like little motorbikes, or what do you call those things? I think I'm getting enough light. I think it's okay. Anyway, okay, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's go back to, let's just examine the thought stream. So here is what is coming out on my X stream, and what the beauty of X is that you pick who you want on your stream. You say, I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. Like there's certain people that are always saying the EBS is coming next Friday. Get ready. Make sure you have all your groceries ready. Mr. Poole. I don't want to really. I like Mr. Poole, and I still have him on my channel. I think, but there's certain people that I just like. You know what? And they're not wrong, because in some aspect of this kaleidoscope called reality, the EBS is happening right now, and it is happening on Friday, and it's been happening. So my conclusion kind of is on this video is that, and I'm noticing this always happens when I think I have a really valid point, is that hardly anyone can stand this. It's not for everyone. Not everyone can deal with this. They want to know, well, what's really going on? Well, the truth is, what's really going on is whatever's going on for you. That is reality, period. And that's what Q has taught us. That's what this experience has taught us. There are people that hate Trump. Why do they hate Trump? Because they're influenced by this negative thought process. These parasites, these worshipers of Baal, these reptilian hybrids, the sons of Cain, the evil itself, the Luciferians, Satanists. Their reality is completely different from our reality, and they live in the same place, and they're willing to say, I mean, even like, I'm not saying my mother's a Luciferian, but she hates Trump. There's nothing I could ever say, like, he did this, and isn't this good? She's like, yeah, but it's just because she's brought up in a liberal community, and she had liberal parents, and that's her mindset. Okay, so it is what you make of it. So that's why in all areas you have to farm your thoughts. I was looking at this Neville guy, he's talking about the law of attraction. You have to be careful what you think about. You have to act as if you have a particular fantasy or a particular desire. Remember, desires are very high level. They're above intellect. You don't think about, well, that really makes sense. That, like, for me, the ultimate thing of that was when I was 26 years old, and I just graduated or was in the process of fighting the Nudniks at Columbia to get a degree in creative writing. And I wanted to have a career as a writer, that all of a sudden I had to be a carpenter. It just came out of nowhere. But this is not just random stuff. I paid attention. I said, well, okay, I'll be a carpenter. And I learned how to be a carpenter at 26. And now, now I understand why that came into my thought stream at the time, and how important it would be later to me. Even though I didn't work as a carpenter for 20 years, I worked as a school teacher. I still did carpentry at home. But these desires that hit you are not just random things, and you should not be ignoring them. You must embrace, because it desires, these kinds of positive desires come from a higher, it's above the intellect. Okay, so hippie, hi, is that great view? Thank you. Yeah, okay, so let's just go. So now we're going to just dip our toes. We're going to go swimming in my particular X thought stream. Okay, well, let's just go for a minute and see what we can find. We'll go for a little adventure. Okay, so and it's already changed, dark to light, right? The God of Wrath is changing. So if you're a regular patriot, you probably feel like, when is it going to happen already? Well, in some respect, it's already happened. In some respects, it's happening now, and in some respects, it is happening in the future. It's a continual flow, like the EBS. The EBS happened because we think about it, and the EBS is happening now. We're getting all this revelation, and the real EBS. I feel we don't need a real. I'm not into it, but anyway. Okay, so America needs a crusade. Yes. Temporary protection status for Somalian ends tomorrow. They know this. That's why they're freaking out. Okay, so they're all about to go down. That's interesting, and that is kind of trust the plan. At some point, it becomes pretty obvious Q is the White House. Okay. Brian Cates. I love Brian. I think Brian is brilliant. Social media doesn't drive the new world. Influencers on social media vastly overinflate their importance in their own minds. I discussed this on my show this morning. Social media influencers were a massive mistake. They're not journalists. Their brands are not based on reality. Okay, so we've been talking about that my role is not to tell you what's really going on. My role is to tell you that you have your own experience of what's really going on, and it's totally valid. Let me just let me put this into a different. How do I do this? Here we go. Okay, let's do it like this, because it comes out bigger. Okay, so let me just go to a few other posts. Update. With NATO's failure to come to the aid of the United States in the war with Iran, now is the time for President Trump to pull the U.S. out of NATO permanently. Yes, indeed. Now, they really think we're dumb enough to believe this is the same person. This is like Biden. Somebody asked me, somebody on this channel asked me in the beginning of the show, what do I really think is going on with Bibi? What I really think is going on with Bibi, I think Bibi's been dead for years. And there's an actor playing him. These are not the same people. Okay, that's what's clear to me. Let's keep going. Salute to the U.S. Marines, Navy SEALs, and all who defend the great nation. Yeah, look at these guys, man. Yeah, awesome. Breaking news, independent journalist Nick Shirley just made a bold statement. Let's be real. Donald Trump is a tough man. He can be harsh, very direct, and he doesn't say sorry much. But in my whole life, I never met anyone who can fight harder in what he believes in. Yes, indeed. I mean, he is the man. Both Nick Shirley and President Trump. This is from Tartaria. People are being shown how screwed and corrupt the legislative branch of our government is, but this is all a lead up. This does not mean this is what's really happening now. That it means that we are being led to understand in the development of this timeline that we're not going to have 435 people. We're going to have a very limited, much smaller government. Eat more plants. I also, we eat a lot of animals too. Nothing can stop what's coming. Right. That's a cool little video. Baron Trump and the time traveling prophecy, Nikola Tesla's vision connected to Elon Musk's future, the Strait of Hormuz, the higher dimensional beings, so-called aliens, are here. They're saying that they come from the other side of the ice wall. They're all corrupt, and we have to expose them. They're willing to starve you into submission. You know that, right? Yeah. The Rothschild annual gathering is in full swing right now. Yeah, great. Okay, so Nick Shirley, here is a full 40 minutes of my crew and I exposing California fraud. Minnesota was big. California's even bigger. We uncovered over 170 million in fraud as these fraudsters live in luxury with no consequences. All right, so this is all, great journalism. I do not consent. Consent is not consent unless it is explicitly given by all parties involved. That is a very important thought. I do not consent. With guns in the hands of the public, there will be tragedies, but without them, there will be genocides. And we saw that with the COVID, with the DIVIC. Joe Rogan discussed a new martial law, DOD directive. Okay, I find Joe Rogan a little bit like kind of old school. USDA now asking people to register their vegetable gardens for a national database. Interesting. Jail the fraudsters. Stop calling it gun control. It's civilian disarmament. Trump is not touching that drink. I watched the entire thing. Everyone else took sips. He is worried right now about the possibility of someone poisoning him. Yes. The enormity of what is coming will shock the world. Hillary Clinton, Leatherface. All right, do not mistake silence for inaction. Stephen Miller. Okay, so that's just a smattering of the information that's coming out at the moment. We lost power in DC, 10 days of darkness. We just lost power in DC. 10 days of darkness, it could be. I mean, we don't know, right, Nancy? We just don't know. That's interesting. But it could very well be that we're coming into 10 days of darkness. Yeah. The town needs an enema. Yeah, the town needs to be repositioned. We need to get rid. I mean, it's very simple. We need to get rid of the fraudulent corporate government and replace it with the republic. It's that simple. And like Nancy has alerted us that there are fake sites on this, but this is the real one. republicforusa.org. So join the Republic. If you saw a website that says everything's been filled, it's probably a fake website. So that's it. I think that's enough. I guess I've been on for a while. Have I been on for more than an hour? Probably more than an hour. I've been blabbing. The bottom line to me, the conclusion that I think we should take is that reality is not a fixed third dimensional thing. That's what the creepazoid parasites want you to believe to keep you from enjoying your God-given talents, which is your multidimensional being, your memories, your thoughts, your desires, your feelings, your intuitions, your friendships, your everything, your family, your, like you said, memories. All this it's a big kaleidoscope of different influences that cannot be separated. And that's what the creepazoid, the Baal worshipping, the Molech people, the Satanists, the Luciferians want to look, the scientists want to look at everything in isolation, in isolation. Science does not even attempt to describe life or life force. How could that be? How could you be a body of people devoted to understanding the mysteries of the universe and not even touch upon the idea of a soul? How is that even possible? Or the idea of ether, or the idea of the interconnectedness of consciousness itself. That things are, they want to split everything up into, well, this is life and this is non-life. They can tell you what life is not, but they can't tell you what it is or it moves. But that's not a definition of life. This is the Satanist viewpoint, and also the idea that things occur in a linear fashion and that reality is something that somebody else really understands. That's what we're learning to understand, that it is up to each and every one of us to create our personal understanding and enjoyment and creative potential. How come I can't go up? One of my family members living just outside Washington, she told me that they've lost power. Yeah, well, Nancy's saying the same thing. I thought you were going to talk about my favorite movie, V for Vendetta. I touched on it, but I you know me, I don't have the wisdom or the good sense to stick with one thing. I just this is just my being is like that. I can't, I have spoken about V for Vendetta before, but the basic thing is that millennia represents this V for Vendetta, and that the Tartarian way of understanding will have its day. That's what Whiplash is saying. And one other interesting point that came today is that if that the police have no authority over sovereign people, over us. That if a policeman says, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" and you say no, that ends the conversation. I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm a sovereign citizen. That's what happened to me. I got pulled over for speeding, and he said, "You have to go to court." I'm like, "Well, I don't accept your courts." He said, "Well, you have to call them." I'm like, "I'm not going to call them. I'm not going to interact with them at all. I don't understand. Why would I go to a court that's not based on constitutional principles? Why would I pay a speeding ticket that I don't really understand? I don't agree to this." So we do not have to comply. And one other thing I want to say, there's a beautiful person, a soul, who reached out to me and said, "What do I do? I didn't pay my taxes, and now I hired a guy to represent me, and now they're all coming after me, and they say they're going to take my house." My advice to her, and I am not a financial advisor, okay, this is just what I do. Do not talk to these people. Do not answer the phone. Do not read their letters. Do not interact with these creeps. Do not comply. That's how I do. I'm not saying you should, but this is how I deal with it. I didn't pay my speeding ticket. I'm not going to court. I did go down innocently because I didn't know any better. I went down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and I talked to the head guy and I said, I don't want to get my truck registered. I don't believe in it. I don't think that I have to. And he said, and I said that the police said they're going to arrest me if I don't get a registration. He says, "Well, I have no control over the police." I mean, so they have this like separate thing that makes no sense. I'm just like, why should I take part in this? So my advice is, if you're in trouble with the IRS, just ignore them. If somebody's trying to sue you or to involve you, once you hire a lawyer, you're fucked. You're screwed. Once you comply with them, and this is just my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legal expert, but in my experience, the only thing that somebody knocked on our door a couple of years ago, and it was it was this divorce thing. And I stupidly hired this idiot lawyer who came and he buttered me up and he took thousands of dollars from me. And then he wanted thousands more. And I'm like, I gave you thousands of dollars and you haven't done a thing. There's no resolution. And it just gets more complex and more difficult. I should have just said, Daniela, throw out that thing. But stupidly, I complied in that respect, that I answered them. Don't talk to these people. Somebody calls you and says, is this Ellie? I'm like, well, who's this? Oh, this is for somebody from tax. Click. You don't say yes. This is. I don't say yes. This is Ellie. Why are you asking me? If you're calling me, you don't know who I am. That's your problem. Who are you? Who are you to call me? And what do you want? Oh, well, we're here. We're representing your tax. Click. I'm not talk. I don't talk to these people. Okay, that's it. So, arrest the demons. Yeah, arrest of demons. Yeah. So maybe these other 10 days of darkness. Nancy, has your light gone back on? I don't know. I thought you were going to talk about. Yeah, it's a great movie, but I'm not. I don't have the I don't have the mindset to be able to stick with one thing. Storms in DC, Ohio had severe winds on Friday. Arrests of demons. Yeah, let's arrest them, man. I mean, let's hope that's what it is. It could very well be. Hey, everyone. Hey, Sandra. It could be that these are the 10 days of darkness, or it may not. Or it may be the idea is now out there. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we should look at anything as like, well, this is what's really happening now. It's all happening and it's all not happening. But what do you choose? What are you choosing as your reality? So power's still off. Okay, so maybe this is the beginning of 10 days search. Maybe this is the EBS. That's a distinct possibility. Or maybe not. Or maybe yes and no. Is that, I mean, does that make it sense to anyone? I don't know if it can really communicate this idea. Power's still off. So who knows what's going on? Outside of DC just told me they lost power. So maybe they are arresting everyone. Well, let's hope. Let's hope that's what's going on. And then we will have some clarity. But in the meantime, in my point of view, I'm just going to keep doing, I'm going to keep on keeping on. Something tells me we're close to Easter. Something could happen. I don't know. Just a thought. It could happen and it could not happen. And that's what I mean, I've been doing this for 9 or 10 years. And we've been talking about the EBS for at least 5 years. It's happening next Friday. So has it not happened? I can't say that either. In a way, it's happened because we all thought about it many times. Is it an event? We're all going to this event. I think at some point there will have to be a kind of a unifying thing. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like 9/11 had that kind of aspect to it, but that was from the bad guys. That was a turning point in the history of mankind. We didn't realize. I remember when it happened, just spending hours and hours thinking about, well, what's really going on here? And my idea of what's really going on here, and I saw it with my own eyes, is that the experience of 9/11 changes over time, like everything else. So it's not like, okay, 9/11 happened, and that is not the way I look at reality anymore. Bo Poloni, yeah, I don't listen to Bo Poloni. I think anyone who calls himself a prophet in my mind is, Q says it. Q says, I am not a prophet. Q says that. They have time machines and everything. I am not a prophet. You are not a prophet. I do not look to other people. I do not look to others' reality. I do not look to, Joe Rogan. My reality is my reality. And I think that's what we're coming to as a collective. And I don't expect to get a lot of hits on this video, but just be you. And that's my thing. All right, so let's play let's do the Matrix tune and we'll call it a night. Let's see.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moving to paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Yes. So I think the smartest thing, I hope I did. Okay. The smartest thing that anyone can say is, I don't know. I don't know. If you figured it out and you know what's going on, you're really clueless. I mean, that may sound like a crazy thing to say, but get out of the 3D version of reality. Get out of this, oh, this is here and this is this and this is that. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like living in Mickey Mouse land. We are multidimensional creatures. We have imaginations, we have desires, we have history, we have remembrances, we have past life experiences. We operate on many dimensional planes at the same time. And that's what the creepazoids want to take away from you. So if you're thinking to yourself, I get it. Next Tuesday is going to be the EBS, and that's what's going to happen. And really, it's Russia and it's China and it's this and that. You're definitely off base. You're completely clueless. The smartest thing you can say is, I have no idea what's going on, but I have this feeling. I'm honoring my own soul's journey. I'm doing what I love to do. I'm building a new life. I'm working on my health. I'm working on my wealth. I'm establishing new kinds of relationships, because the whole pattern of relationship and family has been distorted and changed. But I'm creating new families. I'm creating new passions. It's if nobody else wants to join me. I mean, I just remember when I was Hasidic, and living in New York, I really wanted to go on a canoe trip, and I couldn't find anyone to go with me. So I went by myself. I spent a week all by myself in the remote woods of Minnesota, in the northern Minnesota. It was the best week of my life. You don't need an entourage. You don't need thousands of people. You don't need a following. You don't need to find people to agree with you. You just have to stand up for yourself and just be you. That's the bottom line. So may force be with you. May you realize that you are force itself. Nothing can stop this. It's happening, and it's already happened. And I'm saying, like, time has no meaning. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. I don't know if I don't have a definite idea of what I'm trying to develop. It's just I'm kind of throwing this out there and seeing if this resonates with you, and seeing if it frees you to think of something else. Maybe there's a different way I can, maybe I've always wanted to do this. So maybe I should start thinking about how could I do that? May source be with you. May you realize that you are the source of reality, period. Nobody has to tell you. Nothing has to happen. No one has to convince you. You do it. You do it all yourself. And that's what they wanted to take away from us. They wanted to take this understanding that we had, that we will have, that we do have, that we are sovereign, and that we are not slaves, and that we are creators, and we are able and willing and should, in my opinion, create a new world. Create whatever world is in your heart. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.